The Cicada and the Ant by Jean de La Fontaine is a tale about work, preparation, and discipline. Today, we bring you this very instructive story. Once upon a time, in a meadow full of flowers and greenery, there lived a happy cicada. She would spend her days singing and dancing under the warm summer sun. With her beautiful voice, she would attract all the other insects around her, and they would join in on her song and dance. Her days were filled with joy and laughter, and she never had a worry in the world. One day, while she was singing, she caught the attention of a hard-working ant who was marching in line with many others of his colony. The ant was on his way back from a long journey, carrying food for his colony. He was sweating and exhausted, but he didn't complain. His determination to provide for his colony kept him going. The cicada, who had never seen such dedication before, decided to follow the ants for a while and see what they were up to. As she watched them work tirelessly, carrying food and building their storage, she couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt. She realized that while she had been wasting her time singing and dancing, these ants were working hard to ensure their survival. The cicada felt ashamed of herself and decided to change her ways. She wanted to be like the ants, hardworking and disciplined. But it was too late. Summer was coming to an end, and soon the cold winter would arrive. The ants were prepared with their storage of food and a strong shelter to protect them from the harsh weather. But the cicada had done nothing. She spent the entire summer singing and playing her guitar or lyre, and had not prepared for the coming winter. When the first snow began to fall, she was in trouble. She was shivering and hungry and had nowhere to go. The cicada began to panic. She needed help, but who would help her? She looked around and saw the ants running in and out of their anthill, carrying food and keeping themselves warm. She knew they were the only ones who could help her, but she was too ashamed to ask them. The cicada remembered how lazy she had been all summer long, and how she had mocked the ants for their hard work. Now she needed their help. But would they help her? The cicada took a deep breath and walked towards the anthill. She knocked on the door and waited. An ant opened the door and was surprised to see the cicada. He had never seen her work or prepare for the winter, but he also remembered how she had spent her summer singing and dancing. The ant looked at the cicada with compassion, but he knew that he couldn't let her in without her doing some work for the colony. So he told her, "If you want to come in, you will have to work hard and earn your place in our colony." The cicada was disappointed, but she knew that she had no choice. She had wasted all summer doing nothing, and now she had to work twice as hard to catch up. The cicada worked hard for the ants all winter. She carried food, built storage, and helped the other ants in any way she could. She was determined to prove to the ants that she could be a hard-working insect just like them. But despite her efforts, the other ants didn't trust her. They had seen her lazy ways in the summer, and they knew that she could not change. As the winter continued, the cicada became more and more desperate. She missed the warmth of the sun, the sound of birds, and the smell of flowers. She had never realized how beautiful summer was until she had experienced the harshness of winter. The cicada could take it anymore. She packed her things and left the anthill to go find her own shelter. She wandered around in the snow, hungry and exhausted. She had never felt so alone and helpless. Just when she thought she couldn't go on any longer, she saw a small cave. She crawled in and made a nest for herself. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep her safe from the wind and the snow. The cicada spent the rest of the winter in the cave. She ate her last few supplies and waited for spring to arrive. She was weak and hungry, but she was also determined to make a comeback. She had learned her lesson the hard way, and she was ready to change. When spring finally arrived, the cicada emerged from cave. She was still the same cicada, but she was also stronger and wiser. She knew that she could not live a life of leisure if she wanted to survive. She had to work hard, just like the ants. The cicada set out to find the ants and apologize for her behavior in the summer. She wanted to explain to them that she had learned her lesson and that she was ready to work hard. But when she found the anthill, the ants didn't want to listen to her. They had lost trust in her, and they were not willing to give it back. The cicada was heartbroken. She had worked so hard to change, but the ants did not believe her. She wandered away from the anthill, feeling defeated and alone. As she walked, she came across a wise old owl. The owl had seen the cicada's struggle, and he knew that she needed help. So the owl called the cicada over and asked her why she was so sad. The cicada poured her heart out to the owl, telling him about her lazy ways, her failed attempt to join the ants, and her desire to change. The owl listened patiently, and when the cicada was finished, he spoke. "Cicada, you have suffered enough. You have suffered enough. You have learned your lesson, and now it is time to move on. You cannot change the past, but you can create a better future for yourself. Don't look back. Look ahead and start planning for the next summer. Prepare for the coming winter, and don't waste your time on meaningless pursuits." The cicada thanked the owl for his wisdom, and she went back to her cave to start planning. She knew that she could not change the past, but she was determined to make the best of the present and the future. The cicada spent the rest of the spring and summer working hard. She gathered food, built a strong shelter, and prepared for the coming winter. She did not forget the lessons she had learned from the ants and the owl, and she was determined to apply them. When winter arrived, the cicada was ready. She had food, shelter, and a plan. She knew that she would survive the winter and be ready for the next summer. She had learned that hard work and preparation were essential for survival and success. As the winter passed, the cicada thought back on her journey. She had started out as a lazy and carefree insect, but she had learned the importance of hard work and preparation. She had faced challenges and setbacks, but she had never given up, and now she was ready to face whatever the future had in store for her. Once upon a time, there were two friends. One was fond of hunting, the other of farming. The farmer said to his friend, "You work too hard. Come and rest with me for a while." "I want to enjoy myself," said the hunter. "Why do you want to work like a slave?" But the farmer replied, "You may laugh at me, but I am preparing for the future. When winter comes, my fields will provide for me, and I won't have to go hungry." Then winter came, as the farmer had predicted. The hunter had to wander through the frozen forest, hungry and thirsty. When he came across a farmer's cottage, he knocked on the door and asked for food. The farmer opened the door and invited him in. "I haven't seen you for a while," he said. "Where have you been?" "I've been wandering," said the hunter. "I haven't worked, and I'm very hungry. Could you please give me something to eat?" "Of course," said the farmer, and he gave the hunter some bread and cheese. Then he asked, "Would you like to stay here and work on my farm? You can share my food and my bed for the night." "That would be great," said the hunter. And so the hunter stayed with the farmer for the rest of the winter. He worked hard on the farm, and the farmer shared his food and his home with him. The hunter learned that hard work and preparation were important, and he realized that he had been foolish to ignore his friend's advice. In the spring, when the weather warmed up again, the hunter went back to the forest to hunt. But he was a changed man. He was no longer lazy or carefree, but he was hardworking and prepared. And he never forgot the valuable lesson he had learned from his friend, the farmer. Do you think the Cicada and the Ant story is a useful one? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching.